Hello, I'm Steve Terrell with RedSeal. I'm going to show you what a blast radius looks like and how you get there. RedSeal integrates with most vulnerability scanners out there. Think of your Tenable Nessus, Security Center, Qualys, Rapid7, and so on. So scan results can be imported and have our analysis done to show context in your networking environment. But not all vulnerabilities pose the same level of risk. RedSeal evaluates and prioritizes vulnerabilities based on their exploitability and their value of the assets they threaten. RedSeal is taking a zero trust approach to vulnerabilities. So let's assume that every asset is compromised. And if we understand the access from untrusted networks to that asset, access from trusted networks to that asset, then access to critical systems and to the rest of the network from that asset, combine that information with some math, and you get a prioritized risk score for all of your assets. Across the top, we're looking at all of the assets in the model. So I have 2,100 assets. 365 of my assets are exposed to untrusted networks that we don't own or control. 1,500 of my assets have access to critical assets, and 168 of my assets are exposed to those untrusted networks and have access to my critical assets. Let's take a look there. What we have is we have what vulnerability on what asset poses the most risk, which vulnerability in general has the highest risk score. That's Microsoft hotfix. 168 of my assets are affected by it. There's a patch available. So let's get this taken care of first. RedSeal prioritizes vulnerabilities in context to your network so you know which vulnerabilities to address first and increase your digital resilience score. And this is the overall, this is the riskiest asset in my model. It has a business value of 100 with 42 vulnerabilities. Say I'm a CISO of an organization and I just received an urgent call from our SOC that a host is showing indicators of compromise. They're telling me that it's a specific host. There it is. Critical severity, risk score of 34. Using RedSeal, I can quickly determine what an asset is, where it is, what it has access to, and what has access to it. So I can tell the SOC I need to. Let's run an incident investigation. Try to stop any type of malware or ransomware breakout. So let's see what this is. It's a FreeBSD server. It lives here in this topology group. It logically lives here in this subnet. And it's physically connected to this switch off of this switchboard. It's able to reach all of these topology groups in my environment, most importantly, my critical systems. All of these targets are reachable in my critical systems by that potentially compromised host. Let's see exactly how it gets there. I'll run a detailed path query. Okay, here's the subway map. These are all of the devices the traffic from that potentially compromised host would take to get into my critical systems. Here's an ASA data. This firewall right here has a yellow ring around it. This indicates that it has ACLs in place that allow that traffic to happen. Let's click it and see. Sure enough, here's a permit IP any, and it's free reign into our critical systems. If that's the case, we need to get that rule removed. But what else does it have access to? RedSeal has a completely interactive model where you can ask it questions. What do I have access to? Who has access to me? Well, let's see what else it has access to. Yes, all of my subnets. Oh, it certainly does have a lot. Let's see what that looks like on our map. Okay. It has access to all of these topology groups. It reaches the majority of my enterprise. Look at all the hosts and subnets it can reach. This is the blast radius of this compromised asset. Imagine if this were infected by malware or ransomware. You could quickly get this device removed from my network and have a forensic investigation started on it immediately. Another detailed path query I'd like to show, for example, is how traffic can leave my software-defined networking environment and get into my AWS environment. This is the longest path in my network. It's 16 hops, traverses all these devices to leave my Cisco ACI environment to go out to the cloud. And here's a couple of firewalls that have ACLs in place that allow it to happen. Let's see what that looks like on our map. Goes. All right. There's traffic coming out of this tenant, going into my campus headquarters network. Through these switches, routers, this firewall, into my core routers, out of my core routers, into our DMZ, out of our DMZ, through our border routers, out to the internet, into this virtual gateway, and into this VPC. And if you needed to troubleshoot traffic coming out of your SDN environment into your cloud, how many specialties would it take to troubleshoot this? You may need a cloud engineer, maybe a Palo Alto networking engineer, because this is the virtual PAN firewall here in the cloud. Your on-premises network engineer to troubleshoot your routers and switches, maybe your ASA, and a Cisco ACI specialist if that networking engineer isn't one. RedSeal can help you quickly troubleshoot problems, look at access, figure out what access needs to be removed, give you a better security posture. Thanks for your time.